Last night, in the closing minutes of our show, the House of Representatives voted to allow the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy to be repealed. Congressman Patrick Murphy had said repeatedly that he had the votes. Turns out he did, in fact, have them. He had 17 more votes for repeal than he needed. Now, what passed the House was an amendment to a Pentagon funding bill. Despite much crowing from House Republicans that they would vote down funding for the Pentagon rather than allow the funding bill to also repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the overall funding bill also passed the House today. So here's what happens next. The Senate also needs to pass its defense authorization bill with the Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal amendment. That vote should happen sometime in the next couple of weeks. If that passes too, then what happens, at least for a while, is nothing. The Pentagon review of how to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell is due December 1st. Then the President and the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs all have to certify that repealing the policy won't hurt the military. And then 60 days after that, then Don't Ask, Don't Tell would be repealed. The New York Times headline on this today got the subtleties of this right. Their headline was, House votes to allow Don't Ask, Don't Tell repeal. To allow being key there. They didn't actually repeal it yet. This just means the military can repeal it. And it's not a done deal. Defense Secretary Bob Gates made that clear today in a video message to troops about it.
As you may know, earlier this week, Congress began legislative action to change the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy regarding homosexuality in the armed forces. Given the complicated political debate surrounding this issue, I thought it important for you to hear from me what this means for you, the men and women wearing our nation's uniform. The legislation involved is a deferred repeal. In other words, it would repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, but only after, I repeat, after, the ongoing Department of Defense high-level review is completed, and only after the President, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and I all can certify that we are ready to make this change without hurting unit cohesion, military readiness, military effectiveness, and recruiting and retention. While this process plays out over time, nothing will change in terms of our current policies and practices. Current law, policies, and regulations remain in place, and we are obligated to abide by them as before.
So in other words, with that last part, don't come out. At least not yet. That advice echoed today by the Service Members Legal Defense Network, which advocates for a repeal of the policy. They are telling gay people who are currently serving in the military, do not come out. Don't Ask, Don't Tell remains the law until this process is complete. Lesbian, gay, and bisexual service members are still being discharged under Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and they will continue to be discharged until this process is complete. The moral arc of the universe may bend toward justice, in other words, but it is a long, long arc. The wait is nowhere near over.